Okay, so I've gone on and on about the problem, and I think I've explained it enough. I've explained it to death, really, and what the issue is, and what the problem is, and obviously, some people will may still disagree with me, and it's like, oh, well, you just need to suck it up and deal with it. That's the way the world works. I'm like, well, you know what? You're not my ex-wife. Don't talk to me like that. Um, so, but when I bring forth something that I think is a problem, like at work, it's not like, oh, hey, this is a problem. Oh, okay, how do you think it should be fixed? Oh, I don't know, but it's a problem. It's like, okay, well, look, yeah, I'm not in law enforcement anymore. I work in a factory, but even there, if I have a problem with something, it's I'm gonna approach my boss with it and say, hey, I've got an issue with how this is working. Um, Here's how I think it would work better, or here's a couple options that I've thought of, or what if we do this? And sometimes, we open a dialogue and try to figure out what we need to do differently. Sometimes it's something I need to do differently, or my expectation is a little off. Okay, well, I thought they would be the ones to take care of that, but okay, I guess it does fall on my shoulders. I'll need to adjust and move on. So in that vein, I'm going to talk about some of the workarounds. And I want to put these workarounds out there, and I want to explain exactly how I'm doing it and why I'm doing it, so that Samsung understands that there are people out there who are so pissed off at you that you can go out right now and find people who have already come up with workarounds for your bullshit. Okay. Um, Actually, I was talking with this about a couple of their YouTubers, and I basically put out there what the problem was and why it was torquing me off, and Jinx was actually nice enough to message me back and say, hey, just out of curiosity, I was looking this up and I found this online, and he showed me how to go into my router and block Samsung's like website, which is the ones putting out the ad. So I can actually block the ad stream from my router, through my router. I can block it right at the router. So that'll in theory that should stop the ads from coming up on the bar, or on the menu home screen, or menu screen, excuse me. And I'm like, hey, that's great. And then there was the well, and actually, when I was talking with the tech service person, she suggested, okay, well, you don't want this playing in the background. I'm like, yeah, I just want a blank screen. I want to turn my TV on and not have to hit mute right away as I'm thumbing through my watching options on the different apps that I want to pull up. I don't want to be inundated by ads, audible ads swarming into my living room. And she goes, okay, I have an idea. So she goes and she actually turns on all the age filters, all of them. And she goes, okay, if you keep it on this main channel, the main channel, the one that had the Van Wilder movie, which was rated, she said that, and at one point she said that channel was rated PG-13. And I'm like, yeah, that's fine. My kids are 9 and 10. And she wasn't being mean. She was kind of just touting the party line. But she turned on all the age filters, and then I can just leave it on pretty much any channel I want, unless it's like a real little kids channel, and it won't play. It'll automatically block the content. Now, of course, there's a pop-up saying, hey, this content is blocked and you have to enter your PIN in order to watch it. I can just ignore that, and I can just go do what I want to do. I can get a blank TV screen, which is what I fully 100% expected when I bought this television. And what I wanted when I bought this television is I turn the TV on, it's a blank screen. Then I choose what to go into. So I'm like, you know what? That's fantastic. And the only reason I turned them off was to make these videos, because I wanted to illustrate some of the points. Otherwise, I would, as soon as I get the chance, I'm going to turn all those back on, or I'm going to use one of these other options that are at my disposal. Now, another option is to just disconnect the TV from the internet, and then nothing streams back in. But then Samsung owes me $100, so I can go buy another Roku. Because they've set the inherent Roku equivalent up in a way that is unusable on the TV itself. Now, if they were to cut me a check for $100 along with an apology letter, I would take it. I would take it, and I would go buy the superior product, which is a Roku. Oh, by the way, Roku has much wider variety of channels as well. Um, I'm not a shill for Roku. I feel that they're a really good product. Um, I would take that as a small victory, but not a good enough victory, and I would keep marching to war. But they do. There is a portion of this television that is unusable to me because here's really what I'm going to do. Okay, I'm going to just plug the Roku back in. I'm going to disconnect the television from the internet, and I'm going to plug the Roku back in. That's how bad your product is, Samsung. That's how insufferable your obnoxious advertising is, Samsung. That I am going to willfully turn off an entire section of the TV that I just bought. Just cut it out of the equation so I don't have to deal with you anymore. Yeah. Yeah. So that's the solution I'm probably going to go for. Now, I want to make one quick point here about these solutions and these workarounds. And I know this happens to a lot of people where they buy a product and it's not exactly, and it can apply to any product, but more so electronics, or obviously that's what I'm talking about. So that's what I kind of have in mind. And people come up with workarounds and stuff like that, and they buy it, and then they because here's the thing, and I'm pretty sure this is how this would work. If I block the website that's streaming ads to my television on my menu bar, if I block that through my router, does that ever let Samsung know that I'm displeased with that? I'm pretty sure. Now, I could be wrong, and I will accept feedback from somebody who's maybe more knowledgeable about this. I could be wrong, but I'm assuming that there's no message that goes back to, hey, this user is blocking your ads from going to their TV. That's a bad thing, and you might want to know about that. No, they probably don't give two shits. I mean, let alone if they even find out. They just would never know. So I imagine there's a percentage of people that are just doing that because it's already out there. Jinx found it real quick and easy. Now, I hadn't looked for workarounds because, quite frankly, I don't want a workaround. I want my TV to function properly. And that's what I expect, Samsung. I want my TV to function properly in all the ways I bought it to and expected it to work. And if I have to set up a workaround, that's not good enough. Okay? And that brings me back to the point that I'm making here is it's not enough to just throw in a workaround, because I could just leave all the age filters on and leave it on some random channel and never have to deal with this again. That's not good enough for me as a consumer, because I don't want this practice to continue on any television, anywhere, let alone Samsung. I want this practice to die in the water right here and now. This overreach, this corporate hubris about forcing advertising into your home when you don't want it. No. You bought our television. You have to take this. You have to take this advertising. You have to. It's our television. You bought it from us. You have to take this advertising. That's not acceptable. It's not acceptable. Samsung, that is not acceptable. And just like Microsoft backed down about putting advertisements on the home screen, and just like a lot of those Audible internet ads have died away, this needs to die. This needs to die.